Welcome to the Brian Craig Show podcast. My name's Brian Craig, joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. The Brian Craig Show is brought to you by Tom Laporta at Laporta Contracting and Roofing. If you're in the state of Florida and you need roof replacement or repair, Tom Laporta is your guy. He'll never sell you a roof you do not need. Online at laportaroofing.com. All right, it's such a weird thing about this. When I say this, I mean doing a show. The things that get people riled up. It's really unpredictable. You would think that you could, this will make people upset. That'll trigger people. And, it's amazing to me what things seem so obvious, tiny, and non-controversial that end up triggering people. And there's been an update on a story that I talked about today and that I've been talking about for the last week or so. There was a big update about this on The View today, which I'll first recap it and we'll talk about it with Kathy, but then there was a big update on The View, so stay tuned for that. And what I'm talking about is the Gavin Newsom podcast, okay? There's been 3 episodes so far with 3 guests. Guest 1 was Charlie Kirk, guest 2 was Michael Savage, and then yesterday, guest 3 was Steve Bannon. And for those of you that haven't heard me talk about it, just let me give you the capsulized story of this, and then Kathy and I will get into it. And then after Kathy and I talk for a bit, I'll share with Kathy the update on The View that I don't think you know about, Kathy. Gavin Newsom obviously is running for president. The podcast is his presidential launch campaign, usually like Obama. The way they used to do it, like Obama announced he was running for president in front of the Illinois State House. Okay, that's how they used to do things. Now you launch a podcast. And the reason that Newsom has a podcast is 2 reasons. One, they credit Trump's win in large part to podcast. And 2, they know that the reasons they lost, a couple of the big issues were the border and the trans sports issue, right? So what Gavin Newsom is doing is reinventing himself as a reasonable Democrat. And the way I describe what he's doing is what Bill Clinton did in 1996 that got him reelected. Bill Clinton, in 1996, it was 2 years after the Republicans won the House and Senate with Newt Gingrich. It was the first time the Republicans controlled both houses for 35 or 40 years. So the positions that the Republicans had at the time were really popular. And when Bill Clinton ran for reelection against Bob Dole in 96, Dick Morris was his campaign manager. And this was Dick Morris's idea. He called it triangulation. And he took all the Republican positions and made them his own. And those became the Democrat positions. That's what Newsom's doing. So Kathy and I have been talking about this a lot off the air, and I'm really upset at these conservatives for going on there.
Well, I'm curious who his first liberal guest will be.
If any.
And if any, if he ever will, because then he'll look too much like a liberal. He might have on Fetterman. He might be his first one, because he's another one who has tried to paint himself as moderate, yet look at his voting record. Mm-hmm. He voted for Marco Rubio and a few others, but he votes pretty much with the radical left. Mm-hmm. So don't be fooled. And I see Newsom as a wolf in sheep's clothing, and that's how you should view him. And I feel that he is. The first thing I noticed when I saw that, I didn't watch the shows, but I saw clips, is how manipulative this guy is.
Yeah, scary manipulative.
He's very good. And so good that the guys on the show think that they're going to school him, and they think that they're using his platform, but Newsom's using them.
Even when it's over, they think they've played him.
And they've been played. They haven't. And I feel each guy has his own motivation, which you've talked about, but I also feel there's an underlining motivation with all of them. I think all of them have issues with Trump now for various reasons. And I'll tell you what, Charlie Kirk, I don't know what's going on with him. He had Cenk Uygur at his Turning Point event.
Yeah.
Now, who's a big liberal. Now he's on Newsom's show. He was his first guest. I believe that Charlie Kirk is upset with Trump because he is not a part of the administration.
Yeah.
And I don't see him at Mar-a-Lago very much. Brian and I watch all the live feeds on YouTube of Trump flying into Florida. They air a lot of it here. They talk about it on the local news. They show clips from Mar-a-Lago. I don't see Charlie Kirk there. He's not a consultant. He's not part of the administration. And I think he's pissed about that. Yeah. I really do. He's not on that inside circle. He's not sitting around the table with Peter Navarro and those guys or along the edge of the wall. He's not there. And I think he's mad. Steve Bannon hates Elon. So that was his reasoning. And Michael Savage, has his own issues.
Savage has always been like against Trump. And, these three guys, and they're not going to be the last. And, this is what everything Kathy said, you're right, Kathy. And then a couple other things. Steve Bannon, Savage, and Charlie Kirk, they're not on the inner circle, but they feel owed. They all have these egos. They think they're responsible for Trump's reelection, and he owes them, and he hasn't delivered.
That's exactly right.
And Gavin Newsom, see, this is the thing that I'm trying to get through to people. And you may think I'm harping on this too much and overreacting, but I don't think so. The Democrats don't have any credible candidates. And Gavin Newsom, this is what you got to look at. Donald Trump won votes from millions of Democrats. That's why he did so well. But we only have a slim majority in the House of Representatives. So what that means is millions of Democrats voted for Trump for president, but they voted Democrat on the House races, right? So what Newsom's doing is trying to get back some of those people for his run. Now, I'm not saying that Gavin Newsom's going to win the presidency in 4 years, but out of all the Democrats, he's working on it. He's reinventing himself. And why make it easy on them? And
he is the stereotypical slick politician.
Yeah.
If you owned a used car lot, he'd be your top salesman.
Yeah.
He is very manipulative and slick, and people have very short memories, and he's counting on that. And you're right. It's not MAGA that's going to support him or vote for him, I would hope. But like you said, a lot of Democrats did not vote for Kamala, did not get excited about Kamala. I have my best friend, her daughter is very liberal, very liberal. She did not vote for Kamala. She hates Trump. She just wrote in somebody else's name. So Democrats did not come out and vote for Kamala. They weren't excited about her. She's a moron.
Yeah.
That is not going to happen with him. He will be able to, he is very good on TV. He's handsome. And he, I would never vote for the guy because he's awful. And I think he's crooked and he has a horrible record. And we could go down that whole road. But Democrats will get excited about him. They will rally behind him. And, think of him against JD. Okay. And it would be very, very close. I'm telling you, this guy is, he's a threat.
And, another thing with this, that
it's not like Kamala.
You go through all these three conservative interviews. Okay. And I'll go through them in reverse. Bannon was yesterday. Bannon, and all three of them have some issues, personal issues. And Gavin Newsom knew what they were, and he used those dysfunctions to get them on.
He found their weakness.
And he knew before.
He found their weak point.
Well, he targeted them. All right. He knew their weakness and targeted them. And going in reverse, Steve Bannon, who was the third of the three, and these aren't going to be the last. Okay. He feels slighted by Trump. He views Elon Musk as the wall that's keeping him from Trump. He went on there and bashed Elon Musk and told Newsom, you created him. And he said, that's right, California, we created it. So Bannon sat there and agreed with Gavin Newsom that Elon Musk is a creation of the left to try to stain him. Yeah. Savage was the second one. And he said he has a friend who's in this country illegally. He's a Mexican, been here 20 years, pays taxes, and he should be legalized. So Savage was really pretty bad because his whole identity on his show, every hour, borders, language, culture. We all found that. Now we find out that's a fraud because he's got this illegal Mexican friend that is somehow paying taxes. He must have someone else's social security number. And he's agreeing with Newsom on that. The first one was Charlie Kirk. And I believe Charlie, this is the thing with Charlie Kirk. I like Charlie Kirk, but he's naive and he's also arrogant, and I think he's in trouble financially a little bit. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. Turning Point is an organization that much of its funding comes from donations. Now that Trump's been reelected, the donations have dried up for a lot of people, and he's not running again. So I think he's in a more desperate financial situation. So he was clout chasing. And what Charlie Kirk did, he thought he was walking Governor Newsom down the garden path, but he got played by Newsom. And he gave Newsom an out on the transgender men in the sports issue. And there's two other things. What's scary to me is how easily he manipulated these three very smart people that are top in MAGA world. And that's scary. If he can manipulate these guys, who else can he? The other thing is, Kathy, these are campaign ads. These guys, these are like endorsements almost.
I feel.
And they will be in commercials yucking it up with him like they agree on things when he runs.
They'll take out clips.
Yeah.
And I feel that just them sitting down across from him in the same room is a sort of validation. It's like the fact that they went there and did a show with him and broke bread, so to speak, and sat at the same table. It's almost like they're giving him their stamp of approval.
Yeah, an endorsement.
An endorsement in a way, just being there, not even saying anything, just being there. But I also feel there is a starstruck quality here. These guys, politics are their rock stars, okay? They're not into movie stars. They're not into that kind of stuff. They're into politicians. Politicians are who they admire, who they emulate, and who they want to be around. They like power, and they're drawn to that. They're drawn to people like that. And Gavin Newsom, they know this guy's going to run, and he could possibly win. This is in their mind, not my mind. And they're thinking this guy might win, and he's going to run. You know, Trump's not going to be around running it. He's retiring after this. And we don't know who's going to be the next candidate for us. There's a lot of people we don't know yet, but they know that guy's going to run. And they're sucking up to him in a way, and I think there's a little starstruck over him. I really do. Yeah. And I'm very curious who you think will be the next guest on his show. And I'm thinking
it could be Kathy. It could be Ben Shapiro.
I think it's going to be Ben Shapiro very soon.
Patrick Bet David,
Candace Owens.
No, not because of the anti-Semitism. He may not want to be near her.
Okay, well, I think Patrick Bet David or Shapiro. I think that's a safe bet.
And I'll tell you
for that those two for sure.
Another thing. Now you shared this with me.
Maybe DeSantis too.
You I would not be surprised.
Yeah, maybe DeSantis too.
You shared this with me the other day, and I saw this on X. I have not confirmed this, but you saw it. I saw it. It was reported on X a few days ago that Kim Guilfoyle, our ambassador to Greece, set up the Charlie Kirk interview.
She is setting up these interviews.
And, I know she's the ambassador to Greece, but she's got to be ticked off since she got dumped by Don Jr.
Absolutely. I think Trump gave her, she's not Greek. I looked it up because I thought, well,
she's not?
No, I don't think so. I could be wrong. She's Spanish. Now she could be half, but she's always says she's a Latina.
Yeah, that's right.
She is not Greek. So I don't know why he made her an ambassador to Greece unless she's got a Greek grandfather. I don't know. I'm sure that doesn't matter. But that to me
her mother's Puerto Rican and her father is from Ireland.
Okay, well, there you go. She's as Greek as I am. You're more Greek than her.
Yes.
So I don't know what that's about. To me, it was like, I'm going to throw you a bone because it's a consolation prize kind of thing. But she was still publicly humiliated. Don Jr., by the way, I don't think he's with that woman anymore. I don't see them together anywhere. That Beatrice, I don't know.
I don't know.
But anyway, he dumped her and they had a very, very high profile romance. She lost her job at Fox. She would still be on the 5, probably. I remember when she was dating him, I said to you, this is a big mistake because he'll never marry this woman. And he didn't. She's too old for him. The John Jr. is not I love him, but he is not a serious guy. He's having too much fun. He's never going to get married again. And she lost her job. She gave up everything for this guy. And now she's pissed. And she knows Newsom. They were married.
That's right.
She's going to help him. She is covertly helping him.
If that story is true.
And I think it is.
Now, there was a happening on The View involving this. I don't want to listen to the voices of these ladies, so I'm just going to read you
They're so
what they
awful.
said. I don't want to listen. I don't want you guys to,
Good. Spare us.
Exactly. But this is, I'll read this to you. This is on X. The View loses it over Gavin Newsom's interview with Steve Bannon, says Newsom was despicable with his pretty white teeth. Newsom.
That must flip them out. They don't like Bannon.
Is that a racial comment from what's her name there?
I guess so.
Newsom,
I'm sure he has veneers.
Yeah. Newsom is trying to play it smart, but his own base is going to torch him for it. Tough situation. The View's Sunny Hostin accused Governor Newsom of being inauthentic, calling his interview the most inauthentic thing she's ever seen Newsom do.
Well, he is inauthentic. Yeah, that's something we know.
He's totally fake. And she says, I believe that if you're going to be a public servant, you better be unapologetically authentic because voters could sniff out inauthenticity in a second. This
says the woman who looks like Michael Jackson.
Yeah. I couldn't believe, you showed me a picture of her. She was very dark. I don't know what happened to her.
She was much prettier 10 years ago. She looks like Michael Jackson now, and she's had so much work, and she's talking about authenticity.
Then she says, I'm terribly disappointed. I think you meet energy with energy, and what he did was he showed his pretty white teeth and his cute face and did nothing other than that. And I think it's despicable. She's pretty upset with himself.
Well, they're upset about it. But let me tell you, if he runs and wins the nomination, they'll be kissing his ass.
Oh, yeah.
He'll be on that show and everything will be forgotten. You know what I mean? But he'll have on some liberal eventually. I think it'll be Fetterman. I don't think he'll bring on anybody too radical right now, but he's setting up a precedent here, like Tucker, where he's got a guest on every show. And, you got to fill in those interviews and find somebody who's going to go on it.
That's right.
And I think what will eventually happen is the backlash will be, he's going to run out of people, conservatives. He's doing this too early. I mean, he's not going to be running for 3 years and he's going to burn through everybody. And I think these conservatives are going to get so much heat for it that they're going to be like, no, I'm not going near that guy.
Well, it's just crazy. Would you be surprised if he had Alex Jones on?
I would be surprised if Alex Jones did that.
What about Jack Posobiec? Oh my goodness.
That'd be pretty bad.
It depends on what Jack.
Matt Gaetz, he might do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I think there's a lot of people that would do it because they like because
clout chasing.
Well, everybody's talking about it. We're talking about it. They're talking about it on The View. It's publicity. Mm-hmm. It gets the one thing these people hate is when you stop talking about them, whether it's good or bad. They don't like to be forgotten. This is a way to get people talking about you. It makes you feel relevant. That's what these people like. You know what I mean? So it'll be interesting to see. I know Michelle Obama's. See, the liberals are trying to get into the podcast world. Michelle Obama launched a podcast.
I watched that with her brother.
Well, her brother is weird. That's the problem.
He's weird looking and he's weird.
They have the same face on different bodies. It's very weird.
You know what she said? She said he's a coach. What is he, a life coach?
I think so. But she is, that show, I don't think it will last. The views are not good, and she is just bashing her husband. She really hates her husband because I have never heard her say anything nice about him. It's always negative, or, she said he was always late for their dates. Why the hell did she marry this guy? Who would marry a guy that shows up late constantly for your dates?
Yeah.
Obviously, he didn't give a damn.
He was like
to be on time.
He was like Dirty John.
You were never late when we were dating, ever.
Well, we didn't have that many dates before we got married.
No, we didn't, but you're always on time anyway.
I'm early to everything.
We've been married almost 30 years. But who marries somebody who doesn't have the respect to show up on time? Mm-hmm. That tells you that all they care about is themselves. He's a narcissist.
That's right.
That's what she married, and I think she regrets it. She even said to her brother that she did not want Barack to run for president. She did not want to get into that world, and that Barack went to her brother to convince him so he'd convince her, and it worked.
Wow.
I mean, she just threw him under the bus.
This podcast, the whole purpose of the podcast, I think, is to set the stage for their divorce. And I watched that.
She's gonna keep bashing.
I watched that episode so I could talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay. And it was so bad. And I don't think people realize what her real personality is like. She's much different than we see in these little clips on. She is not a pleasant person.
Brian, Democrats are not likable.
She's not likable.
None of them are likable.
Her brother looks like a drag queen.
Yes,
doesn't he?
Probably is.
Now, I want to tell everyone about Mike Lindell and MyPillow. You know, there's a great deal going on, Kathy, right now. You know, on orders that are $100 or more, okay, you get 2 free standard MyPillows. That's a pretty good deal. On top of the up to 80% off some of the top MyPillow products. And, you know, I got to tell you just about the quality. You know, we have all these MyPillow products. We have the mattress topper, the pillows, the towels, the sheets. Mm-hmm. And just to give you an idea, everything and many more things. These are not the only things we have. And the prices are so low, but the quality is so high. You know, as an example, we've had the sheets and the towels since they were first offered. So some of them we've had years. And of course, we wash them every week and dry them. And you cannot tell the original sheets and towels that we got to the ones that we got most recently. They're that high quality. And
no, you can't.
No. And in the past with sheets, you would have sheets after a while, before we had the MyPillow sheets. And after a while, they just kind of start to get kind of thinner.
The sheets are absolutely the best. Yeah. And I'll tell you why. You will not want to get out of bed. That's the only problem.
Yeah.
But they are a tighter weave and they are a thicker, heavier cotton, which is really nice. You're not hot, but you can, it's not like a thin, skimpy sheet. It's thick, it's soft.
Yep.
And it keeps you cool when it's warm. And then if it's cold out, it I don't know how it does it. It just kind of, I guess it works with your body temperature. I don't know what it does, but they're amazing. But they are very soft and they're a nice,
even after 1,000 washes.
Yes, they have not thinned. They have not changed. And they fit your bed. I'm disabled. I have a lung disease and I could not make the bed on my own before I got these sheets. Now I can. It is not a problem. If you have issues with arthritis or you're elderly, this is an easy set to make the bed with. I promise you, there's no struggling with the fitted sheet at all.
Absolutely. So, you know, there's huge discounts with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane at mypillow.com. And, you know, you guys, I want to say thank you because, you know, MyPillow's been with us for many years here on the program, and they're with us as sponsors because you support them. And every time you use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, it lets Mike Lindell know that his support is well warranted. Okay. Our sponsors are not charities, and I appreciate you supporting them since they support us. So use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane at mypillow.com. The Mafia gave Frank everything: power, loyalty, a family. Then they put a bullet in his back, but Frank isn't dead, and now he's out for revenge. From author Frank Romano comes your next must-read book, Rogue Element, available at barnesandnoble.com. The streets run red as Frank hunts down the men who betrayed him. Every move he makes pulls him deeper into the shadows, where trust is a weakness and survival comes at a price. In this game, there's no forgiveness, only blood. Rogue Element is a ruthless crime thriller where justice and vengeance collide. If you love action, betrayal, and unstoppable grit, Rogue Element is the book for you. Order your copy right now on barnesandnoble.com. Rogue Element from author Frank Romano. What if the news didn't just tell you the story, but made you live it? Author Emily Tiffany Joy takes you inside a near-future society where the line between fact and fiction disappears in Technesthesia, a new journalism, available on Amazon. In Technesthesia, enter a world where technology has rewritten human perception. Truth is no longer reported, it's experienced. In the future of journalism, memory, identity, and reality itself are no longer your own. If truth can be felt rather than proven, does it still matter if it's real? Technesthesia is a mind-bending, thought-provoking journey into the next evolution of media. Author Emily Tiffany Joy is a philosopher and founder of the Center for Non-Adversarial Knowledge Structuring. It's a groundbreaking initiative that's dedicated to ethical innovation, responsible artificial intelligence frameworks, and much more. The future isn't coming, it's already here. Order your copy right now on Amazon in Kindle, paperback, hardcover, and Kindle Unlimited. Technesthesia from author Emily Tiffany Joy. If you're a homeowner or with a homeowners association and your roof is old or compromised, you need to call Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing. Laporta Roofing has been in the roofing and construction business since 1984, with thousands of roof installations and thousands of satisfied customers. Did you know that in the state of Florida, you can open a roofing company and borrow someone else's license? Tom Laporta is the holder of his roofing and general contractor's licenses, not like the other companies that borrow other people's licenses. So be sure who you're dealing with. Tom Laporta and his team are honest, knowledgeable, and reliable, and he'll never sell you a roof you don't need. Laporta Roofing carries all insurance, including workers' compensation on all of its employees, not just a waiver like other contractors. Laporta Roofing can handle any type of roofing job too: residential roofing, HOAs, condominiums, and churches. If it's roofing, Laporta Roofing can do it. So call Tom Laporta on his cell phone, 954-604-4602, or connect online at laportaroofing.com. That number again is 954-604-4602. Laporta Roofing, the go-to roofing company you can trust. Are you looking for a new job and tired of filling out endless applications? Let Lift My CV take over the job search for you. Lift My CV is the new AI-powered job search agent that finds and auto-applies to the best jobs for you, so you can land that dream job faster and easier than ever. Lift My CV is easy to use too. Just set your preferences, upload your resume, and Lift My CV handles everything else. It scans top job boards like LinkedIn, Monster, and more, and fills out the applications while you focus on prepping for that big interview. Your job search just got a lot easier. There's no subscriptions and no commitments. Sign up right now at liftmycv.com. That's liftmycv.com. Apply faster. Get hired sooner.
You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. Make sure you follow and subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to us on. Okay, so this has been developing throughout the afternoon. A mob of lunatics, radical lunatics, have stormed Trump Tower. And as of this moment, and these numbers could increase, but as of the moment I'm speaking right now, over 100 have been arrested, according to reports at Trump Tower in New York. And this is in the Gateway Pundit. Let me read through this. A mob of radical pro-Hamas protesters have taken over the restaurant inside the iconic Trump Tower in New York City. Oh, my goodness. Is Barron staying there while he's in college? I mean, is he in danger? Marjorie Taylor Greene tweeted a video that shows a radical mob fighting to defend the anti-Semitic pro-Palestinian protester Mahmoud Khalil. This is the guy that they picked up that Marco Rubio is deporting. The group, comprised mostly of women, can be seen wearing red T-shirts that read Jewish Voice for Peace and Stop Arming Israel, while shouting, "Free Mahmoud, free them all." Now, just because they say they're Jews doesn't mean they're Jews, but you never know with liberals, liberals of lunatics. Along with the video of the uprising inside Trump Tower, Marjorie Taylor Greene tweeted this, quote, "Protesters have occupied Trump Tower in New York City chanting, 'Free Mahmoud, free them all,'" she added. "I know the owner of that building, and he will definitely be pressing charges." Yes, of course, and the owner is our favorite president, Donald Trump. Marjorie Taylor Greene concluded her tweet with a popular acronym used to warn far-left protesters that they're not dealing with woke clowns in the DOJ anymore, the FAFO. And if you don't know what that is, just Google it, FAFO. In addition to the Free Mahmoud chant, the so-called Jewish group, even in the Gateway Pundit, they're questioning it, stormed Trump Tower. They held signs that read, "Fight Nazis, not students, Jews for Palestinian freedom, and no Muslim ban ever." Of course, there's been no discussion of a Muslim ban, and it's just bizarre. Now, this Mahmoud character led violent protest at Columbia. All right, ICE picked him up, and this is what these people on the left, they've lost their minds, and they've lost perspective, and somehow they've convinced themselves, and I don't know where they get this idea, but they've somehow convinced themselves that this guy has a right to be an activist for Hamas. Remember, Hamas is Iran. That he has a right to be an activist for Iran, that he has a right to terrorize students, that he has a right to organize these god-awful protests that are going on right now and put people's lives in danger. And you know, you see the number of protesters in New York over this, trying to free him. First it was at Columbia, now they've moved into Trump Tower. And it shows you that New York City is on the verge of collapse, just like England. You know, England has fallen. Europe is a caliphate now. Certainly England is hardcore Islamic country. And I mean, they were just playing the Ramadan music in Parliament, if you remember. Just a few days ago, I was talking to him. England's completely fallen. And there's such a large presence of these radicals in New York City that these things have to be done. Now, Marco Rubio and ICE, they made a mistake, and they let it be known that they apprehended him while he was still in the country. They should have picked him up, put him on a plane, and processed him in flight and dropped him off wherever he's from, and then come back. Let his lawyers then work and try to get this guy released. Good luck. But because word got out, they were able to do some, this obstructionist behavior they're doing, find some leftist lunatic judge. And now they got all this going on. And the way that these lunatics are reacting in New York, attacking Trump Tower, Trump Tower, I think people forget this because President Trump's at the White House, and of course, Mar-a-Lago. But Trump Tower is the president's home, and it's the home of his family and has been for many years. He has multiple homes, but he's lived there with Barron and Melania and the rest of his family for many, many years. So it's not just that Trump Tower has been overrun and occupied by these Iranian activists. It's the home of the President of the United States, the sitting President of the United States. And boom, they're in there taking it over, obstructing, endangering people. I mean, the way they're reacting is so insane. And see, this is the problem, with what's going on in this country with the globalist. They've done this to England. They've done it to a lot of Europe. And they're trying to do it here in this country. But they may have accomplished it to a certain extent in New York, as I've been saying. But these mobs of radical lunatic activists, they go into a country, they go into a city, and not only do they take it over, they conquer it. And what's going on right now, it's not just Trump Tower under attack, which is pretty bad, the home of a president of the United States under attack. They are trying to conquer all of New York City, and it's their way or the highway. And they don't understand that they are a guest in our country. And, this country, and this may not be politically correct to a lot of liberals out there, but this is the reality. The United States is a country founded by Europe. So this is a European culture nation, right? Because our ancestors are from Europe. And this is a Judeo-Christian nation. And they've moved on now. They've conquered the UK. Now they're moving to New York. And let me tell you, you put things in perspective. After 9/11, it's hard to believe 9/11 was so long ago, but after 9/11, it was just a terrible time. And there was this thing that went around that we hadn't heard since the Holocaust, never forget, and all of that, right? Was after 9/11. And New Yorkers proudly went around, never forget and remember 9/11. Well, it seems like they've forgotten, doesn't it? For them to allow what's going on right now at Trump Tower to happen shows that, the bad guys may have won in the long run in 9/11 because they've done so much work on taking over the city. And it is beyond my imagination that this is being allowed to happen at Trump Tower. I mean, it was bad enough when they were doing it at Columbia. Now, ICE said when they picked up when they picked up Mahmoud, they said that this is the first of many, that they have a lot of people that they're going to arrest and deport. They're trying to make it a First Amendment right. I went into great detail on my live stream this morning about that, talking about Tokyo Rose and a few others that were American citizens that went to prison during and after the Second World War for things that they said. Tokyo Rose went to prison for 10 years. So if you go and watch that stream, it's got Marco Rubio and Mahmoud in the thumbnail on YouTube. You can listen to me give a very detailed explanation about Tokyo Rose, who went to prison for 10 years for what she did. And she was an American citizen, and no one was claiming First Amendment. Okay, this guy is not a U.S. citizen. He's a guest in our country. And, it's what Marco said, Marco Rubio. And I tell you, he makes Florida proud every day. But he said that, you come over here, you're supporting terrorist organizations, you wouldn't get the visa in the first place. So the visa was, just because you have a visa to be here doesn't mean you have the freedom to be an activist for an enemy power. If you're out there organizing hate and violence and protest on behalf of Hamas, you are working for Iran, which is America. Sadly, they're our enemy. They have been since 1979. So no, this guy's bad news. And these people in New York are so stupid and so full of themselves, and they live in this bubble. They don't realize that they're not helping their cause. They're having an opposite effect. People are seeing this and they're disgusted by it. And Marjorie Taylor Greene is right. This is not the Biden DOJ. Okay. And Pam Bondi's got to get on the job here right quick. And there has to be a strong message sent. I mean, if you send a group like this, many of them wearing masks and such, that are out there supporting the release of a Hamas organizer, an Iranian agent, which is what he is, in the home of the President of the United States, Trump Tower, how can that not go unanswered? How is that acceptable? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Now, Putin has come out and says he supports the ceasefire with Ukraine. And the president today had the chairman from NATO, had the head of NATO with him today, and he was praising Trump about bringing this war to an end. And it was very nice to see that the European head of NATO, because he's a European guy, is so supportive of ending this war the way Trump wants to end it and not continue an endless war. I was very surprised, actually, to see him so excited about Trump ending the war with Ukraine and Russia. And, Trump, he keeps saying this is a war that shouldn't have happened and wouldn't have happened if he was president then. And he's right. I have not seen such a senseless, pointless war that we've been involved in, at least not in my lifetime. I know Vietnam ended when I was 4, so I don't want to count Vietnam. But, this is just a senseless war that is what it looks like. It's a big money grab for the military-industrial complex. I mean, can you deny that? Can you see anything else in this war other than a money grab for the military-industrial complex? I don't. We have been so saved by having Donald Trump reelected. I mean, could you imagine if Kamala or Biden were president right now? I haven't talked too much about this Autopen with Biden. He was using this Autopen like it was going out of style, and they found a lot of the pardons, including some of the more severe pardons that were given, were done with the Autopen. And, the way that I look at things, and sometimes people get upset about this, but there's so many issues going on. You do have to pick and choose your battles. There's no way that they're ever going to prove that Joe Biden did not authorize the use of the Autopen on these documents. And I understand what happened. I've been talking about this for a long time. There's been people, whoever had access to that Autopen was signing all kinds of documents, okay? There's a lot of crimes have been taking place, a lot of hardcore felonies and treason, and maybe even murder. Did they use the Autopen for military orders? I don't know. But there's no way that we're ever going to be able to prove that he didn't authorize it because, they can authorize the use of the Autopen just over the phone. And, Obama did it when he was in Hawaii, authorized use of the Autopen on bills in Washington when he was in Hawaii. So as bad as it is and it's wrong, it's one of those issues that we're never going to be able to prove. Isn't it sad? You know, the way this country was being run these last few years, it's really beyond my imagination that this was allowed and it happened, but it did. And there's President Trump, there's so many balls in the air. I mean, I think we got to focus on the things that we can take care of. I would like them to be able to do an investigation and come to conclusions and find out who was using the Autopen and press charges against them. But I just don't think it's going to be possible. I really don't. They need to do away with that. And I know the presidents have to sign a lot of things, but he should only be allowed to use the Autopen on minor things. Not things that involve pardons or bills or military orders or anything that involves an expenditure over a certain amount of money. They really need to have some restrictions on the use of that Autopen. Maybe it shouldn't even exist. I don't know how many documents the president has to actually sign. I've never heard anybody actually point that out, so I don't know. Do they have to sign so many documents that there's a need for the Autopen, or is the Autopen a way for people to have an unknown coup and be running the country with that thing? Because whoever has the Autopen is the president, in effect, right? At least it was with the previous administration. Pretty scary. Now, I want to thank our Patreon supporters. And if you'd like to become a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the description of the episode. And remember, when you're a Patreon supporter, you get commercial-free editions of all of the podcast episodes. And of course, you're supporting the program. And that's greatly appreciated by myself and Kathy. And you Patreon supporters are the reason I'm able to broadcast on the radio from home right now. I was able to upgrade my facility at home to make it radio quality ready. And that's because of you guys. And it's greatly appreciated. There's a link to my Patreon page in the description of the episode and every episode. So if you look in the description, you can see that our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you shout-out on every episode. These are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank all of them. Andrew and Connie, Christine, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Rick, Nick, Wesley, Macho, Mike P, Carlos, Paulette, John, Heather, David, Maria in Texas, Richard, Alice, K-Mac, LeeZep, Shawna, Constance, George, Brandon, Rob and Trish Wilkerson, Christy R, John S, Frank, and Dale. I'm Brian. We'll be right back. Your home should be more than just a place where you live. It should be a space that you love, and it can be. You just need the right help, and that's what you will find with Elite Design 5. They turn houses into dream homes, one room at a time. What started as a passion project for their own home grew into a business built on trust, creativity, and a deep understanding of how a well-designed space can transform the way you live. If your home doesn't feel like the sanctuary you deserve, Elite Design 5 can change that. Whether you need a single room makeover or a complete redesign, Elite Design 5 offer in-person consultations in New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Connecticut. And remote services are available no matter where you're located in the world. What are you waiting for? Let Elite Design 5 create a space you'll love coming home to. Online at EliteDesignCo5-Interior.com. That's Elite Design CO the number 5. Elite Design 5. Transforming spaces and enhancing homes. Elite Design Co5-Interior.com. If you're a pet parent, you know that feeling. The one when your dog greets you at the door, tail wagging like you're their whole world. That's the kind of love that inspired Bark and Style. Because Bark and Style understand that your dog isn't just a pet, they're a member of your family. And that's why their signature seasonal box delivers hand-picked, fashion-forward pieces that are designed for comfort, style, and fun. Like cozy knits for chilly walks, trendy accessories for your fashionable pup, and even a little something just for you. Each box is like opening a beautifully wrapped gift. It'll be a moment of excitement, of love, and of memories waiting to be made. And everything's from trusted boutique quality brands that you and your furry family member will love. Make memories, make a statement, and make your pup feel as special as they truly are. Go right now to thebarkandstyle.com. That's thebarkandstyle.com, where style meets wagging tails. Thebarkandstyle.com.
Are you over the age of 50 and it felt like the world tells you you're too old for love, too old for romance, and too old to feel that spark again? Author Elaine Allen Landy heard it too when a TikToker questioned the value of love after 50. But instead of letting that comment define her, she wrote her book, Who's Marrying a 57-Year-Old Woman?, available on Amazon. This must-read book is a heartfelt, honest look at second chances, self-worth, and answers the question, why love doesn't come with an age limit. If you've ever wondered if your best love story is still ahead, Who's Marrying a 57-Year-Old Woman is the book for you. It also makes a great gift and a perfect addition to your book club. Order your copy right now on Amazon in Kindle and paperback. Who's Marrying a 57-Year-Old Woman from author Elaine Allen Landy. Order your copy right now on Amazon. From author Krista St. Germain comes a story of love, loss, and the power of resilience in Where Are You, Caleb? A novel available on Amazon. 20 years ago, Diane Hart's life was shattered. Her 6-year-old son, Caleb, vanished without a trace. No answers, no closure, just the endless pain of wondering, where are you, Caleb? Now, decades later, the truth is finally within reach. Diane's daughters, Anna and Kara, team up with relentless detectives to uncover the secrets that have been buried for years. What they find will change everything. Find out the truth and order your copy of Where Are You, Caleb? A novel from author Krista St. Germain on Amazon. This book makes a perfect addition to your book club and will stay with you long after the final page. Where Are You, Caleb? A novel from author Krista St. Germain on Amazon.
You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Brian Craig. Today I was amazed at how low gas prices are, and I was talking about it a little bit. I've been hearing all day long in DMs and emails from listeners telling me how low the gas prices are. I've been hearing prices in the 240s and $2.50 a gallon from listeners multiple times. On Inauguration Day, on Trump's last day in office of his first term, when I went up to Mar-a-Lago to see him, I filled up my car, and it was $2.57 a gallon. And I saw gas yesterday for that. $2.57 and 9/10. Okay, they always throw in that 9/10. I'm not, a racket that is. So gas is the same today as it was on Trump's last day of his first term, at least here. And I've been hearing from people around the country where it's even lower. And of course, egg prices have dropped. And now the gas has dropped. That means the prices of other things are going to be dropping. And that talking point that the Democrats have had about egg prices and things, it's kind of evaporated. And you look at what's happened in just 51 days, that's pretty amazing. And he has not yet even started his big work so far as, drill baby drill and all that. I mean, he's had so many things going on that it's been pretty, it's been, I wouldn't say it's on the back burner, but it hasn't been, his top thing. And I guess he's been working on it more than we realize because the gas prices are low, and then the egg prices that dropped the other day. I mean, this is amazing. And one of the great things he's doing is he's changing the expectations that people have for everything. What they expect from the government, what they expect so far as prices, what they expect from government spending. And once you change the expectations of the American people on these things, it's going to be hard for anyone else to roll them back. It's one of the reasons that the Democrats, many reasons, but it's one of the reasons the Democrats were rejected so much in the last election is because their expectations were raised so high during Trump's first term, and now they're even going to be higher. Because, what people are seeing, it's not just how competent Trump and his team are, because that's true, but they're seeing how much the presidency can affect our daily lives for the better, as opposed to screwing us over and getting rich and sending money to other countries and to donors. And this country really has been red pilled. Now, we got these federal judges who think they're the presidents, A federal judge ruled today that Trump must reinstate probationary government employees that were fired, they say, unlawfully at several agencies. U.S. District Judge rules, pardons his, it goes on. I'm not getting into the details of this, and I want to ask you guys this, and I do not remember with past presidents, it happened to Trump in his first term, right? Like with the Muslim ban, they did it right out the gate. But with other presidents, Republican and Democrat, I just don't have any memories of federal judges injecting themselves like they're presidents, stopping orders and things from presidents of the United States. Do you? You know, these people that he's been firing and laying off and doing all of this, they work in the executive branch, and he's the chief executive. These are all people that work under agencies under his direct authority as the chief executive. I just don't remember this happening before. Now, federal judges, you know, the liberal ones, they get active. They're very activist, and they get involved in things like, you know, prayer in school and things they shouldn't, but they do. But I've never seen them do a day-to-day overruling the president of the United States. Do you remember this happening in the past? I mean, maybe it's happened once or twice, but this is like a daily event. And, you know, it's gotten to the point that it's beyond just out of control. We're in a whole new space with all of this. Okay. And it's a very dangerous space because, you know, everything the Democrats do is to try to slow down or stop Trump from doing something that's good. And you look at everything he's doing. What is he doing that's so bad? Everything he's doing is spectacular. There's nothing that he's done, nothing I've seen him do that you could point to and say that's a bad thing for the American people. Right? I want to remind everyone, my new Twitter, Brian Craig USA on Twitter. I'm no longer on my old Twitter. So to follow me on X, Brian, I say both, okay, because some people do both now. But Brian Craig USA, that's on X. Brian Craig USA on X. And of course, all my show prep is there. Every article I read pretty much is there. The stuff I talk about on the podcast, on the radio, on YouTube is there. Plus a lot of stuff that I never get to on any of the programs. Brian Craig USA on X, okay? And I'd appreciate that. I don't know if I'm ever going to get back into. I'm locked out of my old Twitter. I can't access my old X, so I don't know if I'm ever going to get in it. They opened up a ticket at X, and I'm still not in. If I get back in it, I'll be very, very happy. But Brian Craig USA, that's me. Okay, my name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk.